Hello, violinists and violists. Lately I've been getting a lot of questions regarding tension when playing the violin. So I would like to focus on this topic today, as you can tell from the title. Now, this is a very broad topic, so for this video I'm going to focus on how tension affects many of us when we play double stops, and what are some things we can do to find points of release in the middle of playing something. Be sure to watch this video to the end, because I'm also going to give you 3 exercises to make playing thirds easier. And that way you'll have some tools that you can take with you into the practice room. My name is Langerman, and if you are new to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you don't miss the weekly lesson video. And on occasion I'm also going to throw in a homemade performance or recording of some kind. And if you would like to see a mini version of these lessons, or if you want to listen to me practicing, then head over to Instagram and follow me at Violinna. It's the same spelling as the name of this channel. Many students who learn double stops, especially for the first time, tend to develop extra tension in both their left and right hands. And this can be caused by many things, including a psychological block that tells them, oh, double stops are difficult, that therefore they try harder, but trying creates resistance, and resistance makes stronger. So because of that, it makes something more difficult than it already is, or than it should be. Let's explore some factors that go on when we play. So I have my violin right here. Now, one thing right away to notice. Where's my bow? There's my bow. One thing right away to notice is when we play double stops, right away we have more contact with the instrument. The bow is touching more than one string at once, and we are putting more than one finger. Unless you're playing fifths, we are playing more than one finger on the fingerboard. So just having this extra contact with the violin can make it easy for our hands to automatically start to grab or add pressure, squeeze the neck, hold the bow tighter. So here's the paradox. With the bow, what we want to do is, it's important that we draw the sound from out of the string instead of push down. That way the sound's actually going to be bigger. Remember that by playing on 2 strings at once, it's automatically going to be louder because you got 2 strings. So instead of pushing down, like I just did, do the opposite. So imagine you're plucking, doing pizzicato, but you have a follow through. So we start from the string and we draw the sound outward. And ironically, the less we press with the bow, the more sound you're going to get. Provided that you find a good sounding point, find a good bow speed that works for whatever passage you are playing. Now, let's just take a look at the left hand, what's going on here. When we have more than one finger down, whatever chord or interval you'd like to play, several things go on. First of all, are you pressing extra with your fingers? Check that you are able to create a pure tone, but can you do the same thing by putting the finger down just a little lighter than before? That's the first thing we'll do. So I'm going to play this octave on the note E. And I'm going to see, let's check my pinky, it felt a little tight. So I'm going to lift and drop it, replace it, and see if I can find some lightness in it. Now, I held my octave a little lighter this time, but it didn't sound less, right? So next, we're going to look at intervals like tenths and thirds, because there is involvement of stretches, extensions, and also with things like thirds, we have an unnatural hand position. So both of those things, extensions and the unnatural hand position, so just to explain it, in an interval like the sixth or the octave, our hand has the lower finger number on the lower string. And if you reverse that, for a third, the higher finger number is now on the lower string, which puts the hand in an unnatural position, and we need to come around to reach the interval, right? Same thing with extensions. We have to reach back. And the things to check here is, are you distributing the weight evenly among the four fingers? So if you have a tenth, are you distributing the weight evenly between the pinky and reaching back with the first finger? Or are you putting your hand at a disadvantage by catering a lot to that first finger, and there's a lot of strain here because there's not enough weight distribution? So for intervals like octaves and tenths, which may require a stretch, tenths require a stretch, it's important that you cater enough weight to the back, to the third and fourth finger. That way the weight is distributed evenly. Then with thirds, very similar. How's your third finger feeling? Or is too much weight catered to the first finger? This is a less ideal way to play the third because my third finger is trying to reach over. But if I prioritize the third finger and then put the one down, it's much easier this way. Okay, we'll talk more about thirds later. Next, let's take a look at the thumb. Are you gripping too much with the thumb? Are you able to move it around? So we're going to do a simple exercise for this one. And actually we're going to start with a scale, a simple scale, no double stops. And for each note, I'll do D major. For each note, I'm going to wiggle the thumb. See if I can do that. Okay? Next, let's take a look at something even more fundamental. Are you lifting your shoulders, one or the other? Make sure that your chest remains open no matter how difficult the passage is, because it's important that we start developing good posture habits right from the beginning in the practice room, because we want to translate as much of what we do in the practice room to the stage when we go perform. A lot of times, even in the practice room, we don't notice we're playing a difficult passage, and then we start going like this with our shoulders, or maybe the left shoulder comes up when we have to shift high. So one thing that is important is that we learn how to be mindful and be aware that we're doing these things. So a great way to practice it is on something simple like a scale or a passage that you can play any day. So check if your chest is open, if your shoulders are down. I'm noticing that I'm actually clenching a little bit on my chin rest a bit too much. So sometimes, let's do it again on the scale. So I'm going to play the scale again, the D major scale, and I'm going to, if I notice that I'm doing this, I'll release and replace, just like I did with my fingers earlier. We're doing this on a scale now because it's simple enough to focus on other things. This is a great way to teach yourself to be mindful about what's going on in the small muscles, in the jaw, in the shoulders. And then when you get better at that with a scale or something, just even long tones, actually long tones is the perfect place to start all of this, then you can start applying this to a piece. or you can play a scale in thirds or in octaves, right? So as you could see, as I was playing the scale, I was not really paying attention to the notes so much, but I was trying to pay attention to what I was doing here and what I was doing here and things like that. Okay? So now really quickly, 3 exercises that you can do to make thirds playing easier. So I'm just going to stand like this so you can see my hand a little bit better. The first one is going to be a vibrato exercise. I'm just going to pick D on the A string and B on the D string. Okay, so we'll use this one as an example. The first one is going to be vibrato, and what we're going to do is first we're going to vibrate each note individually without the other finger down. Then third finger. And then together. Let's do the same with C and E, 2 and 4. I'll start with the 4th finger this time. And you can start with a slow vibrato if you need to. Actually, that's very nice to do. And check what your thumb is doing. Check what your shoulder is doing. Let's add some bow speed and see if I can keep my left hand as relaxed as it is now. And you can go back to the single notes. And repeat. All right. The next one we're going to do an extension exercise. I'll use the same notes. So we'll play the same third. Then I'll move my first finger back. I'll slide my first finger back. And back. Then I'll slide my third finger up a half step and down. And then they'll go opposite directions, half by a half step each. Then, same thing with 2 and 4. So C will go to C sharp. And E goes to E flat. And then opposite direction, contrary motion. And this exercise helps make playing thirds a little easier, especially if you're still new to them. And also it helps to distribute the weight a little more evenly among the fingers. Then finally, we're going to do a quick trill exercise. So I'm going to trill with the 2nd finger. I will do it very slowly for now. And then speed it up. And then we will do the same thing. We'll trill with the 4th finger, C. And now together, slowly. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please let me know if you want to talk more about this topic or if you have any questions. And if this was helpful for you, don't forget to like this video and share it with a friend or a colleague, all right? And as always, happy practicing, and I'll see you next week.